Hello everyone, and welcome to a very nice game from the 2010 World Blitz Championship. It's played between Dmitry Andreikin and Sergey Karjakin. Now, I wasn't planning on doing any more videos today, but I did prepare a poll for you to vote for my next big series, so I decided to do this short video just to invite you to vote. The link to the poll for you to vote will be in the description below. It will be the first thing you will see. As soon as I posted it, some people have already voted there. You can see that already over 1,000 votes have been placed. So far as it seems, it will be a race between Carlsen and Karjakin rematch and the Capablanca saga. But also, I don't know, due to the time difference, maybe Tal versus Botvinnik will also get their fair share of votes, I don't know, perhaps in the morning. And maybe even the Steinitz versus Zuckertort. But the least votes came for Karpov saga. And I really thought, as we just finished the Bobby Fischer saga, you would be very interested to see how the whole story continues with Anatoly Karpov. But, I'll leave it up for a couple of days, and we'll see where you guys stand on what the next big series should be. Now, regarding this game, it's really impressive as it is a game between two grandmasters. Like we said, it's the World Blitz Championship. And before I show you this game, if it's a really short game, I would just like to show you two other extremely short games, not counting the one Ho Yifan played in the, I believe it's 2016 Gibraltar Trade-Wise Festival, where she lost on purpose in 5 moves. So without counting that, there is a very nice game I always like to show people, where white goes d4, knight f6, and then white plays this silly knight to d2 move. And black immediately replies with e5. Pawn captures, knight g4, and after white tries to kick away the knight, thinking that, okay, black just wants to grab his pawn back, black plays knight to e3, and the white can resign, because next move, white will either lose the queen, or if the knight is captured, checkmate follows after queen to h4 check, g3, and queen captures on g3 with checkmate. Now, although this is a very nice game, basically white can resign in 4 moves, I don't think it was ever played between grandmasters, and I don't think it's possible to really find out who was the first to have played this game. But the strongest players I have found to finish their games like this is between 2 FIDE masters. But of course, you could also go back to 100 years ago, to 1910, to a game between Richard Reti and Savily Tartakover. You all know that very nice game, e4, c6, d4, d5. We already actually showed this game on my channel, but I showed it as a Simpsons episode, as this game was featured in one of episodes of The Simpsons. So basically a nice Caro-Kann game where after queen captures here, white decided to castle, and here Reti offers his knight on e4. Now, of course, you cannot capture with the queen because rook e1 traps the queen, but Tartakover actually thought that knight captures on e4 was possible. And here Reti just played queen d8 check, and it was in this position that Savily Tartakover resigned the game. What would follow here is, after the queen is captured, the bishop g5 check, and now whatever the black king plays, either this, then rook to d8 will be checkmate, or if the king goes here, then bishop to d8 will be checkmate, as the bishop is covering b6 and the rook is controlling the entire d file. And while those games are very nice, first one isn't really between grandmasters, and the second one was played more than 100 years ago, where you could actually expect anything to happen in a chess game. But this is 2010, pretty much modern chess. So I'm very happy to show you this game. Andreikin opens the game with c4, so the English opening. We have e5, knight to c3, knight to c6, so we have the reversed Sicilian on the board, where white basically has an extra tempo. Knight to f3, we have g6, and now d4. We have pawn captures on d4, knight to d5. Here you could capture on d4 and the game would simply continue. For example, bishop g7, knight captures, pawn captures, and after e4 basically the game would continue as a struggle who would be able to control the d5 square. But here Andreikin, after e captures on d4, already decides to mix it up, plays knight to d5. Bishop to g7, a very nice reply by Karjakin, and here bishop to g5, already attacking the queen. And here we have an excellent position where there are a lot of good moves for black here. Black is actually doing very well here. Black can play knight c to e7 to block this check. Black can play knight to f6. Black can actually even play f6. It is possible in this position. But the move Karjakin played is not possible here. Karjakin played knight g to e7, and here comes the problem. I'm sure you can all see it. The problem is knight captures on d4. And it seems like an odd decision. The knight is attacked twice here. Why would Andreikin simply give up a knight? Well, the problem is if you capture with the knight, then this knight is no longer guarding this knight, and then bishop captures is a problem. You're gonna lose the queen here, and white's gonna win the game. But what's the problem with bishop captures on d4? Seemingly nothing, and this is exactly what Karjakin played. He played bishop captures on d4, as this is Blitz, you know, the other guy might miss something as well. But now, again, surely you will see what what is to come here. Here Andreikin played queen captures on d4. And now Karjakin is in huge problems. This is only move 8, and already there are a lot of problems for him to solve. If you actually accept the queen sacrifice, then knight captures, knight to f6 check. King to f8 and bishop to h6, this ends in checkmate. On the other hand, after queen captures on d4, if you try to block it with f6, not really anything to look forward to. Knight captures on f6 check, and after king f7, queen is coming to f4. Now all sorts of nasty discoveries are being threatened. You can't really unpin here. The knight controls all of these squares. If you go here, then bishop to h6 is a terrible threat, so black would be lost here very, very quickly. And lastly, but not leastly, of course, after knight captures on d5, thinking, okay, you capture my queen, I'll then capture your queen, it's actually a mate in one. Queen captures on h8, as the bishop is controlling the e7 square. So already on move 8, a lot of fireworks, so Karjakin decided to castle here. But it doesn't help him all that much. Here, Andreikin is actually threatening a forced checkmate in 5, so feel free to pause the video here and beat Sergey Karjakin, you know, as in any way you can. So I'll give you a couple of seconds as usual. For those of you who were able to do it, congratulations, you have just beaten a grandmaster in under 10 moves. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, here Andreikin played knight to f6 check. And here you can either play king g7 or king to h8, but both moves are going under the queen's mask. Of course, you don't want to play king g7, then a double check is possible after something like knight to e8 or h5 check. It's a double check, the bishop is controlling these squares, you have to go back, and then it's mate in 1. Karjakin decided to go king to h8. Now knight to e8 wouldn't really do all that much, as it's not a double check. There's knight captures queen, and you know, black would just laugh at you. So, after this knight to f6 check, king to h8 was played, and now comes knight to g4 check. Now it's a discovered check from the queen, and yes, the queen is offered, you don't really have a lot of options here, but it was in this position that Sergey Karjakin decided to resign the game. Why did he resign? Well, pretty much everything you do, not pretty much, everything you do does lose you the game. The most straightforward knight captures on d4 would lose the bishop to f6 check, king moves, and the knight to h6 checkmate. On the other hand, after knight to g4 check, you don't really have all that many options. If you simply block, it's the same checkmate. Of course, you could block with f6. And then, of course, you cannot end the game in great style with queen captures on f6. Unfortunately, here, knight to h6 will not be checkmate, as the rook is no longer on f8, so you can play king to f8. But after f6, you can play bishop captures, and now it will again be checkmate. Captures, and after king g8 and knight to h6, this will be checkmate. So after this knight to g4 check, Sergey Karjakin resigned the game. So this is 10 moves. I don't know if there are any shorter games between grandmasters. I'm sure there are, but as this is, you know, Sergey Karjakin and Dmitry Andreikin, two really big names, I thought you'd really enjoy this one. But yeah, I'm basically just inviting you to vote on the next series. There you have it. You know, be sure to vote. I mean, don't stress about it too much. I mean, every vote does count, but we are gonna cover all the games, all the events, and all the cool stories that have happened in the chess world. So you might not get your series right away, but it will come at some point. So you know, don't worry about it too much if your series isn't the next one to be chosen. So yeah, that's basically it. That's the game. I do hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Douglas Brohard, CCGS Chess Club, Robert Sullivan, Dmitry Psychogios, and Sylvan Heeb for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, hopefully with some more interesting content. Thank you all, and I'll see you soon.